Well, hey, party people, it's Cliff. Good morning. I am a bit tired and a bit groggy, but we are going into work and we are going to listen to some tunes on the radio. Um, that's about it. That's all I got. It's just another normal day, another Friday. One more week until I am officially out the door at my job. So that's a bit exciting because I'm looking forward to some free time. And I always say, live or work at a place and pretend that you're going to be fired tomorrow. And that's one of the things that happens here in LA. I remember working at a popular trailer house and here in Hollywood. And they made all the different, movie trailers. If you saw a movie trailer in 2015, I worked on it in some form or fashion. Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and Chappie, the Mission Impossible 5 when what's her name from the Dune series, Rebecca Ferguson came onto the scene. So that was a fun time, but I was promised 2 weeks to work there, and I'm like, all right, and then they gave me 6 weeks, and then they let me go, and I'm like, all right. I was only supposed to work there for a couple of weeks, but I came in on a Monday, thought that I was just going to keep working because they promised me like 2 months or whatever, and then it comes in and they're just like, nope, you're out. And I'm like, all right, no problem. So not only does this Hollywood industry prepare you for that freelance type of work where I call it permalance, permanent freelance. And so what happens is that everybody keeps getting the job project to project. That's how it goes. The main thing I wanted to talk about was I really like how these YouTubers, and one that comes to mind is the Critical Drinker. A lot of their videos, some of their videos are like very positive, but other videos are very negative. And focusing on the negative videos, they always say oh, Hollywood's finished, or Hollywood doesn't know its left hand from its right hand. It doesn't know how to make the big movies, right? And the movies that are out right now that are sort of, everyone's talking about is The Backrooms and Obsessions, two small, independent, quote-unquote, movies independent movies that are basically cleaning up at the box office because they're just good. While The Mandalorian and Grogu is a big old blockbuster and it's not doing what its projected earnings are supposed to be doing. And that's all well and good, and sort of the premise of those stories is that, oh, well, look, Hollywood doesn't know what it's doing. I was like, well, nobody knows what they're doing. And it's more nuanced than just what those YouTubers, in the wide breadth of the YouTube folks are talking about. And now it's all spread across the news and everything. Because I saw a news article about how, the Backrooms. Look, Obsession, The Backrooms, I haven't seen Obsession yet. I'm sure it's a great story. I'm sure it's great. One of my friends at work said it's great. Backrooms, great. I really love the copy or the creepypasta, the liminal space. That worked. And it worked because it had such a huge following from YouTube. And Mandalorian is one of those things where I haven't gone and seen it yet. And the reason is because I haven't watched season 3. And the reason I haven't watched season 3 is because I haven't watched season 2. And I've seen season 1 of The Mandalorian, and with entertainment or Hollywood or any type of those properties or things to watch, it's TV, I guess you could say, well, the culture's changed. But I suppose the feeling that these YouTubers want to talk about, and it's not just generally in Hollywood, they use the Hollywood buzzwords, it's the feeling is that Mandalorian and Grogu, when that trailer got released, everyone's like, Why are you releasing it as a movie trailer? Why don't you just release it as, the next iteration of your TV shows? And when you get to the big, when you get into the big, movies, there are so many hands that get involved with those movies that it's really impossible to to kind of have that movie go into a singular direction. And I suppose the thing that thing that gets me is that I guess I just don't like listening to criticism anymore. And I don't know. I suppose it's frustrating that, on the one hand, it's like, yes, the movie itself, Mandalorian and Grogu, probably won't make its production money back or production budget back. But at the same time, Disney makes that money at Disney World and all of its theme parks, and all of the broadcasting rights for ESPN and all of these other giant, it's just giant corporations. So, like, to say that any of these movies, like, or TV shows have failed is like a moot point. It doesn't really matter, because when these big projects get greenlight, it's kind of like a company's advertising budget. I mean, honestly, that's really what it is, right? Movie trailers are advertising. Mandalorian and Grogu is advertising to buy Baby Yoda, at its theme parks, to buy the cereal at the grocery store, and so the money's already made. The budget's already approved and spent, and that's the thing. And these companies, or these Hollywood companies, are so big that it really, one movie, 2 movies, 3 movies, they could flop, and then it just but it doesn't matter, because the movie studios are working within the entire, like, entertainment ecosystem, that it doesn't matter. Now, a fair criticism could be, hey, give the movies to a creative person a focus, like the director of the Backrooms, and make us and spend X amount of dollars to make us a good movie with their vision, and then we'll go and see it. But I also kind of think, like, it's you really need lightning in a bottle. And that's one of the things, like, out in Hollywood, is that the TV network executives, the audience, like, YouTubers, myself, nobody knows what's going to be a hit. Nobody knows what's going to, like, break through the mainstream and into the zeitgeist and be, like, the next big thing. Nobody knows, right? Like, when you think back before to all the different IPs out there, intellectual properties like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, like, maybe Lord of the Rings has, like, the long-standing tradition of, because it's a book series. Star Wars didn't know it was going to be a hit. I remember Lucas and Spielberg, the story about them talking about how, Close Encounters of the Third Kind was going to be the next big thing, but it was, it's there, it's a movie, it has references within the zeitgeist, but it's no Star Wars, So, in other words, nobody knows what's going to be a hit. Nobody knows what is, what's going to happen, and because nobody knows, you have to make educated guesses, and those educated guesses are based on previous audiences. And so, like, look, the Backrooms would have never gotten made had it not been for those short films, like, on YouTube. Never gotten made. Lord of the Rings would have never gotten made had it not been for the book series. Same with, I remember a screenwriter friend long ago, and I finally get what he was saying, because I was a young and dumb kid. But he was a writer, and he's like, and you need 3 different categories in your film to, like, get the money to make it. And I guess this is what goes back to me, what I was talking about the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's Odyssey. It's like, You would have never gotten the money to make that kind of movie had it not been for all the star power in that movie. And one of the things that's going to, shoot it in the foot probably is all that star power, because all those stars are in the zeitgeist of like all the other different movies, and so those characters from all the different other places. And I mean, you kind of go, the feeling, right? Because man, I could do a whole video on all the different things. I had to write some of this stuff down and then actually practice and speak my mind in a way, instead of just off the cuff talking about it. Because part of my conversations are always I'll say one thing, but it's well, it's not quite right. Why is this guy stopping? Don't stop. Don't be nice to people. Be predictable. Oh my gosh. And in other words, it's really, because saying a particular thought with a specific subject isn't really complete. There's nuance to everything. It's just the Backrooms is successful because, there's a young director who is super talented. I'm like, oh, okay, well, they also had A24, they all the connections with A24 and the places that distribute the movie. It's that's part of big Hollywood, Golly, I sound like I'm tired. Tired as hell. Maybe I won't put this online. Maybe I will. I don't care. Nobody's gonna watch this, right? Nobody watches any of these videos anymore about some random guy in Hollywood who knows what he's talking about. I don't know. I go back and I think about these YouTubers, and it's almost like they have to make their point for the audience, and the audience, and YouTube's audience, our minds are attracted to drama, and that drama is basically Hollywood, and the drama is conflict, sex and violence, things that are not normal. And when you have a story that's equal opposite sides, where Mandalorian is the big budget movie they spent $200 million on and it flopped, versus The Backroom and Obsession, which is small independent films. They were made for $10 million. There's a young director that, has his first movie break. That story sells. And maybe I think I want to break the mold a little bit of saying well, yeah, that kind of sells in the moment right now, but you really didn't know what was going to do it. And The Backrooms and Obsessions, they're in movie theaters right now. That's big Hollywood. Sure, the budget would be independent, but it's really not. The relationships in this town and the relationships that you build with other people, especially in the big movie studios and as actors and as crew and everything, that's what it is. The industry that is a revolving door, and those relationships that you build are what lead you to have those independent quote unquote movies reach the mainstream. But at the same time, I'm I don't know how many independent movies get released in theaters that nobody cares about, that get, into the bargain bin at Walmart at the end of 6 months. And that's the idea. I mean, look, name a movie that came out, it's probably about, well, you've heard the term before where there's, in order to have a good, out of 10 scripts, you need one script is good. Out of 10 good scripts, one script will be made into a movie. Out of those 10 good scripts that are made into a movie, out of those 10 movies, one of those movies will be good. And out of one of those movies that'll be good, out of 10 movies that are good, one of them will make a whole bunch of money and reach the zeitgeist. And it's a numbers game, really, with the amount of stuff that's going on, or the amount of whatchamacallit, the industry as itself. I don't know, it's a little bit of a ranting and a raving this morning. Not really ranting, but I want to just emphasize that all of these stories, it's all nuanced, and there's really no reason to be, negative, or, oh, shake my fist at Hollywood because they do it this way versus another way. I don't know. I don't know what to think in that regard. But I do know I'm getting close to work, so and like all these cars are just pulling out in front of each other because they need to go somewhere. But that's the idea. I don't know. This is more of a chill. Oh, hopefully it's a chill morning. Maybe you learned that everything's not all cracked up to be. I actually don't know what you learned in this video. I don't even know what I talked about. So, but I hope you guys are being safe out there. The whole like and subscribe thing, I don't care. But, you guys be good. And, go watch the movies you like. That's all it is. It's like, if you like it, like, go watch it. Go spend money on it. If you don't like it, then don't go, It's no big deal. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.